evening. Just waiting to see. Hi, Judy. I was going to say, waiting to see who's joining me. How are you? It's a good day when you get to color. Hold those down before I make too much of a noise. Hi, Sherry. I was going to say hi, Sherry. Hi, Judy. You just got the stamp. Awesome. Are you going to color with me? Hi, Gay. I think a lot of people are waiting for the Olos to come in. Yeah, I'm making do with the colors that I have, but it's hard. So I'm sure any day they'll be coming. I know Heather was supposed to contact the distributor today to see if they can get them on their way. You'll get, not today, I'll go back to it. Awesome. Well, as always, I want to be mindful of people's time. So it is 6:31. So I'm going to jump right in. So the star of tonight's video is the AALL Create, and it is called, I put this in backwards, Gifts on Wheels, I believe it is what it's called. Gifts on Wheels, that is what it is. And so I didn't use all the stamps yet, but I will, and as I create future cards. And I'll show you what else I used. So this stamp, and I went ahead and I stamped. So the memory deck die that I'm using tonight is this one. And I like the flowers. To me, they kind of look like poinsettia flowers. So I'm okay with that. And these stack of gifts. So this is the card. And I want to do a memory decks card and write on the back the colors I used and the supplies I used so I can remember for future makes. So I'm going to cut out the stack of gifts and I will pop it up here. So one of these flowers will be hidden anyway. So let's see the card. So what else I used was this stamp. I love this stamp. It's almost like a punch but in a stamp. So I used the center one, the top one, the green one, for this stamp up here. I used some rub-ons from AALL Create to just kind of muck up the white background a little bit. I didn't like it as white as what it was. I'm going to try to focus in. There we go. And then these are from ephemera pack. So those are popped up. We have the little toppers is from this ephemera, and I'll be using more of these snowmen come the winter because I have the little girl and boy snowman, or the little boy and girl winter figures from AALL Create, so I'll be using these with that. And the stocking and the little bird came from this ephemera pack, and you get lots in there, like there's snowflakes, there's teddy bears, and I'll either use the sock or one of these little darling reindeer. So I might put the reindeer on my memory decks one and pop him up instead of a sock. I just love them. So I have them kind of out here beside me. And then I did put a little bit of glitter, Wink of Stella, or what the new version of, I keep calling it Wink of Stella, but it's not anymore. It is the Uniquely Creative one. Some shimmer pen on it. So I hope you enjoy this little color with me session. The Merry Christmas came from this set, which I love. It's LDRS Creative. It's Little Darlings rubber stamps, and the Merry Christmas is down here. So I really like this one too. So I'll use this one quite a bit. I like the, oh, thanks Tiffany. I don't say that I'm a colorist. But I'm loving the Olos. They're very forgiving, and I'll share with you my little tips and tricks that I use, and I'm hoping that I'll even get better as time goes on. But these stamps are great for tiny words if you only have a little space, so I like them. So that's all the things that I used on the card, and let's get coloring. And then we'll build on, if I decide to put like this little stamp up here, maybe. We'll see. This platform is a lot smaller, but the whole point behind the memory decks, of course, is so that you have something that you can keep. And I have the sled that I'm going to be putting together soon, so that will hold all my little Christmas ones. So the Come Color With Me series will not end after Christmas, but it may be more than just coloring. And I'm doing a little bit of multimedia as we go, and I like using different products. So let's get right into it. And I'm going to put my card up here, just as a sampler for me. So this time I was smarter, and I kept the colors out that I used. So we're going to start with our 1.5. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Michelle. Oh, you guys are all coming in. I love it. So we're going to color our red truck. And like, there's so much. They're so forgiving. You just have to ever so gently just touch the surface, and the ink just flows. So I'm just going to put a base coat of this red down. Because I don't have too many markers, I couldn't, like, I would have liked to have had something even darker than this red for a shadow, but I didn't. So instead of going with a dark shadow, I kind of lightened a few areas, and I'll show you how I did that. So I see that we got around the steering wheel. And it is just so very easy, and even these small little skinny lines, the brush tip, the nib, is just so fine that it just allows for easy flow of the ink. And do this part of the truck. I love coloring. I always did, even as a kid. Hi, Carolyn. What a great trip I had to Woodstock. It was very fun. I mixed work with with a whole lot of pleasure. Not a little bit, a whole lot. And I was so happy to get to meet as many of you as I possibly could. It was just very fun. So I'm actually going to be coloring all this part of the truck. Same red, so this is pretty easy. Leaving the headlights out. You just play around with your colors. I colored one before this red truck, and I tried to match colors with the packaging. Thanks, Carolyn. It was really great seeing you guys, but I just don't have the colors to match, and I didn't like how it was coming out. It wasn't looking very Christmassy to me. It was too many bright colors. So I thought, I am just going for the red Christmas truck. And I was very happy with how it turned out. But yeah, coloring is very soothing. Put a movie on, and away you go. And then I'm going to, with the same red marker, now I got a little bit of an edge and I spilt over here. So if you don't have a sand eraser, and if you see them, they are a good investment. They work better with watercolor paper because watercolor paper will pill easier when you erase it with a sand eraser. So when you make mistakes with watercolor, you can generally sand it off. It's a little bit harder with alcohol because the pigment goes through, but you can lighten it, and it's just on the very edge. Oh, that surprise! I certainly did surprise Heather. You know, it's a little bit nerve-wracking to do that to somebody because you just never know if it's going to be a good surprise or a, oh my gosh, this is work surprise, because I certainly didn't want to put anybody out and make them feel like they had to work even harder than what they do. So it ended up being a very nice surprise, and I just loved being in the store. My gosh, Dan and Heather certainly work hard. It's very evident in everything they do. And like that auction, I was at the store with Heather that day, and we both were working very hard putting product out and getting things tidied up, and then she went home and you know did the auction, and I'm just sitting there in complete amazement because the energy that she brings, even when she has to be tired, I know I was tired, to that auction. Her and Betty are just hilarious. I should have actually took a video. I wish I could go back in time and on the sidelines just took a video and show you what I was seeing, because they are just a hoot. They're so good for each other. So I got to meet Betty and her husband as well, and it was fun. Okay, so there's the bag. Now I'm just looking to see which ones. I think I did most of the bows with the red ribbon. So I'm just going to do all my red while I have it out. But yeah, they work hard, but they enjoy what they certainly do enjoy what they're doing. That's the other thing that is very evident. Let's see. And I know I have some red on these little packages. And it's really good to look at the pictures on the package too. And that's another thing I like by AALL Create stamps, is that they give you some great colored visuals to go by. So if you're not sure where to jump off or where to start, definitely look at their packaging. And you know, if you color something that shouldn't be colored, nobody's really gonna know. It's all good. Yeah, when I walked into the store, I had the phone up in front of my face so she couldn't see me, and the store was so busy that it was really fun. So to get the lighter shade of red, so now I got my dark red on, and because I don't have I had a brown, but I just didn't like the way the brown looked over the red, so I went lighter in some areas. So to do that, if I had a blender pen, you could certainly use that, because that's what it's for. A blender pen is just the alcohol without any pigment, so it's just straight up alcohol. But I don't have a blender pen, so I used the R.14, so I colored with the R1.5, and I'm going to use the very lighter color of R0.4, and I'm just going to go over where I want to lighten, because it is such a lighter color, it's going to fade out that red, and it takes a minute for you to see it, so you have to have a little bit of patience. And you can really use any color that's lighter than this. And I think I actually went in with even a lighter tone just to bring the lightness even more, which I'll show you in a minute. And you're not going to ruin your markers. Like the ink that's on your paper isn't going to transfer to this tip and do anything funky to your marker. And it just flows from the marker so easily that it's really a treat. So I'm first going in with the lighter red, and I can already see it from my end that it is lightening up. I'm not sure how well you see it, but I do see it. But I'm going to go in with even a lighter shade here in just a few minutes to really pull some of that pigment out. And you can make dots by doing this, like if you want to make polka dots on something or stripes on something, that's how you do it. You can use a lighter shade or a darker shade and just pull the color out. And then some of the bag, I just did a few little folds. Not all can you see on my card because I got it covered up with some of the ephemera. So it did lighten it some. I don't know if you can see it there, but I'm going to take even a lighter shade. So I'm going to go to like almost a peachy, and you might not think that I'm not looking for matching. I'm looking for a color that has even less pigment than what we were using. In this you should see it really lighten. So I lighten it a little bit with the lesser of the red, and then I'm going in with this color and really pulling that pigment out. And you just have to kind of be patient and give it a second, but I can certainly see it lightening up. And the ink again that you want to use to stamp with is something that's water-based or something that's like a momentum oil-based. You don't want to use anything that's ink or alcohol-based because it's going to smudge in with your markers. And I have a few different ones hanging around, and I do like to stamp and then let it dry completely, because even if it's something friendly with the alcohol markers, if you go right in behind wet ink with the alcohol markers, it will smudge your images. Another option is a water pen and use alcohol instead. That's correct, Judy. You could certainly do that. You just want to make sure you don't put too much pressure, because if your alcohol comes out, you're right, you're not going to have any control. So it is lightening up, and at the end, once I let this dry completely, if I feel like I want it even lighter, we can go in again. So I didn't have any grays, so I went to my purples, and I'm going to try the darker, so BV 4.4 is what I went down with first, and I used that for the fenders and the headlights. And then when you blend it out, it's still got a bit of a purple hue to it, but I do find that it's got more of a like a gray purple, and it came out quite nice. So I used that for my fenders, my headlights. I'm going to put it on the visor, so like it's just very soft strokes, and it really colors in very nicely. It's just the very tip. I'm not putting hardly any pressure at all. And another reason I want all the colors is because I'm not going to buy reinkers or the refills for them all at once. I think that would be costly. But I want all the colors, because then if I run out of one and I want a color, then I'll have nearby colors that will help get me by until my re-inkers come. So even though I don't want all the re-inkers at once, I know a lot of people do it. And the other thing for me is storage. My room is very tiny, so I have to make sure that I have appropriate storage. And then I did do the little sack down here with the purple. And some of it's cut out because of the hole where the memory decks was. What else did I do? I know it was with the lighter purple that I did the little bag here, but I do like this darker purple. And who says you have to be the same? You don't. But sometimes I get caught up in my own head trying to pick out colors. So once I find colors that I like, I generally stick to them. And I'll make a bunch of cards. So now that once I have my memory decks done, then I'll stamp out a bunch of images, have them ready, and then all I have to do is put on a movie and sit down and color. But I make quite a few Christmas cards. I sell them at a local shop, but I also give out quite a few Christmas cards. It's one of my favorite things to do for the holidays. How about you guys? I'm patiently waiting for the Olos to arrive. I know, Michelle, I hear you asking Heather, and I'm like, yes, Michelle, because I know she's sick and tired of me asking her. So I'm like, yes, somebody else ask her. And on this one, I just did the stars. I did all the little elements. And last night at the show and tell, that pig Dan had going, I had to laugh because I kind of did the same thing the night I was sitting with auction with them. I took it and she didn't see me, and I squeezed it, and she jumped off her chair, and I had the biggest chuckle. So that is the darker purple, and there's even a darker one, but I didn't want the dark one. And now I'm gonna go in with the lighter purple to kind of, again, knock back some of the tone or the color. And I do like putting the color down first and then knocking it back versus putting the lighter color on first and building it up to darker. I'm not sure why, but I have better, like for me, it works better if I put the dark color down and then shade it where I want to shade it. I just feel like I have more control. It could be all in my head, I don't know. But different people do different things. So I'm just kind of lightening up the grate here in front of the car. And I could take that peach one again where it's a light color, but this purple is lightening up quite a bit. And again, you have to be a little patient. So I'll go over it a few times and then I'll leave it be and then work on another area. And other alcohol markers are good as well. Like if you Copic lovers out there, God love you. If you can learn how to use the Copics, then Olos will be a breeze for you, in my opinion. But if you're brand new and you don't have any alcohol markers, you're definitely in for a treat. I think I'm going to go in with the peach and just lighten up in here a little bit more. And it does bring just a slight different tone of color to it as well. And that in its own kind of provides some highlighting, even though it's peach on purple. can get as fussy as you want. And we got a little bit of brown. This is 2.7. Well, it's O for orange. I think it's brown, but it is considered in the orange family. And this is the seat. Oh, I forgot to lighten my headlights. So I'm going to go in with the lighter purple first. And then I'll go in with the peach. I call it peach. I really should probably watch what I'm calling colors. This one is in the red family, but to me it's peach. And we're just going to lighten up the back of the car, see it a little bit. And then my yellow for back here, it's just kind of the glass, I guess, I think, behind the truck. And I did bring in some of this orange over top of the brown, just to blend out colors a little bit. And I'm going to take the yellow 2.2 and just color around the top of the Santa's bag. And I don't think I used it for anything else. And then we're going to use this green. I like this green a lot. 2.3 yellow green. I'm going to do this package. The light purple and this green goes really nice together. It's kind of bit of Halloween-y colors, but I still like them a lot. And there's so much you can do. Like you could have inked your background first. We'll probably get into some stamping where I'm going to show you masking and how to use that. So Heather, if you're listening, I forgot to ask you when I was there, if you can get some masking paper. And my favorite to date has been the Gina K masking paper. Do you guys know what I mean when I say masking paper? Do you use it? It's so that, say I wanted this bag to be right next to the truck, then I would cut out a mask for my truck, and I actually cut some out because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So this is mask. So just a piece of lightly sticky paper, and I would cover my truck with the mask, and then I would stamp this bag right on top of the truck and off here. So what happens is when you peel off your mask, then it looks like this is in the background of the truck. So whatever you put first, whatever you stamp first, that's always going to be the most forward facing thing. And then if you want anything to be kind of behind it, then that's where you'd use masks. And you can use these over and over again until the sticky goes out. And I do find her masks are sticky enough that I can get several uses out of them. So now that I have these cut, I'll kind of put them in the stamp package with my stamps so that the next time I'm using them, if I want to mask, then I will have it. So that's just a little bit on masking, but we'll hopefully get to do it. I tried to do it on this one, but I realized I didn't really have to do it, so I didn't. but we will play with masking. And I'm going to color this one in. You're in love with your Olo markers, Carolyn? Where did you... No, I'm not even going to ask you where you got them. Because I know Heather doesn't have them in yet, but I know it's hard to wait. But, yeah, they are very, very nice. And I'm saying it, and Heather knows. Like, I've gotten impatient and bought things from other stores because I couldn't wait. And a good example of that is my Sweet Petunia glue press. And Heather got hers in shortly after I bought mine. And I ended up paying almost $30 more for mine than what I would have if I just shown a little bit more patience. But that's my fault. So now I try very hard to contain myself. I think that's why she gave me hers. She knew that I was just so impatient. But I appreciate it because I'm getting to play and getting to learn some really creative things. So this is a dark green. It's YG Yellow Green 8.7. And I'm just using it to color in some of these little images with the lighter green and just some rest of the packaging. And I'm going to fussy cut this, so I'm trying to behave and stay in the lines. So I missed a piece of the ribbon here. I'll have to go back and get that. And like, you know, these little tiny images, it's just like I'm just doing a dot. Oh. And then this package is over here. And I love the idea of the Rolodex. And, you know, the rest of the design team, they may decide to do some Rolodexes as well as techniques or classes. And then we can just build a big portfolio of Christmas ideas. And I love that. Because sometimes you just don't have any brain juice to kind of think of what you want to do, and these cards are terrific. It's kind of like the color cubes, right? Where you don't really want to put a lot of thought behind it. You just want to color, or you just want to get inky and you're not sure which colors are going to go together. I'm going to go back to my light green because I missed some over here. Color in these little dots, and I think I missed some purple over here and then some red. So my purple 4.4, and then these colors really ended up going with the embellishment packets. I didn't look at them at first. And when I decided to use them, I was like, yep, great. They matchy match. And I just go back and forth. So you can get chisel tips too, if that's something that floats your boat. Chisel tips are great for coloring in large surfaces. I decided to stick with the brush markers because I think that's where I'm going to use the most. And to be quite honest, the ink flows so nicely from the brush tip that if I wanted to color in a large surface, there'd be no trouble. No trouble. Are you coloring lots, Carolyn? I'd love to see some of the stuff that you're doing. I'm just going to see if I can tap around these circles. So like that's how, you see those little circles right on that? Like it's so easy to lay your color down around those tiny little circles and still have the circles. It's just very, it flows so nice. And if you're interested, like when they come in, just get a couple and play with them and see how they are for you. Not everybody's going to like everything, that's for sure. And for a long time I kind of stayed clear of alcohol markers because I just didn't have good experience with them. But here I am. We're almost done coloring. And you can get some good splatters with these markers too. If you kind of take your marker and tap really hard, you can get some good splatters. You can get them when you don't want them too. If you snap open your lid on top of your project, sometimes you'll hook your brush, so be careful of that. Yeah, the colors are very vibrant. So that's them colored. And that didn't take us very long. Chit-chatting. I like how lighter the areas got. I'm happy with that shading. And like I said, if I had a darker red, like almost like a burnt red, I would have done shading with that. But I kind of like the lighter color too. So let's do a little fussy cutting, a little fussy cussing of our packages, and then we're going to put this together. You might see the title of my videos change. I forgot that Dan had asked us to put the titles in a certain way for easier uploading to YouTube for him. So I did ask him just before I jumped on to remind me what that was again. So if you see a title change happening, it's not like a new class, it's just me correcting an error. And I always leave a little bit of white space when I'm cutting. Again, that's just my own preference. When I cut right on the line, I find if I leave a little bit of the black line, then it looks more messier than if I leave intentional white space around it. But you do whatever you like. And a trick, you got them a while ago, I find they blend so much nicer than Copics. Yeah, I'm finding that too. So a trick for your border. So when I was putting this card together, I didn't like the way it was looking. I felt like it needed something black. But then what I did is I took a chisel tip Sharpie, and I do this a lot, and I just ran it up and around the white and again on the red, and it just gave it enough contrast of dark that I was very happy with it. So a lot of times I will use the chisel tip Sharpie to go around my papers to kind of even it out. So this is going to get popped up on here. Yeah, I can't wait to get my little sleigh put together. And I really don't think I'm going to paint it or do anything to it. I think I'm going to leave mine a la nude. And because I'm going to have so much color inside of it that I don't want the color on the outside of the sleigh competing with my memory decks cards. I might change my mind, but that's my thought for right now. And with the memory decks cards, oh, I need to get my little I don't have a sniffy. I have this powder tool. So powder tool is great when you want to have something that was once sticky, unsticky. And I popped it up, so I just needed to make it unsticky. This is the Taylor Expression one. But yeah, any powder tool will do. And I think I am going to, do I want that little banner? I don't think I do, just because this is curved and it might look a little funky, but I will take this little piece that's left and I will put that there, definitely. So yeah, so my handy dandy Sweet Petunia glue press cost me a little bit of a fortune. And Heather laughed, and I couldn't blame her. I would have laughed too. I mean, I kind of laughed at myself because I admitted to her what I done. I think I'm going to, one thing I learned about rub-ons is it's best to do all your stamping first, because the ink does something a little funky on the rub-on. I mean, it's not bad, but it doesn't stick to the rub-on very well. So I'm going to ink mine up first and stamp it. And I left the Merry Christmas on a little block. Oh, now I'm going to get all inky. The other thing I do when stamping from a block, because it's like you have one chance to get it right, is I like to have something spongy or a little bit of give underneath my stamp. And it just helps, well, for me, it works better. And then I just hold it. I don't give it CPR, as Tim Holtz would say, but I just kind of hold it there for a minute. And that's as good as it's going to get. I would not try to restamp that over unless I had it in my stamp positioner. It's just a little bit blurry. I didn't ink it up as well. But I'm happy with that. That's my sample card for my memory decks. So I'm okay if it's not perfecto. Thanks, Judy. So now I can go in with a little bit of rub-on. So I just went through, I have several packages of the AALL Create rub-ons, and I picked some colors that would go kind of with the scene. And you can just kind of put them here willy-nilly, and these come off so nice. I'm going to put my glue thing back on here. That all you need really is a bone folder or your fingernail, because they do release quite nice. And for this kind of technique, I don't care if they all come off, because I do just want little sprays here and there. So rub. Oh, thanks, Judy. And like, there's still some on there. Where did you get oh, you're asking Judy where she got them. Don't do it, Michelle. You'll regret it, because there'll be no price like Heather's. I'm sure you can get them at multitudes of places. So I'm just going to put a few more rub-ons down. Because they have been out for a while, but it's taken them a little time to get popular, because so many people, like the market in the industry was really saturated with Copics and Copic lovers. So it took a little while for people who perhaps didn't have alcohol markers or weren't happy with the Copics to kind of try them and then make their own declaration of how they like them. And this is just to get rid of some of that white space. It's not such a big a deal on a small surface like this, but I do like just to kind of make it not so starking. hair. Yeah. Yeah. And all these little pieces, oh shoot, because they come off so easily of your rub-ons, just take a stapler. See, I knocked these bits right off. Just take a stapler and staple them together and put them back in their package, and then that way they won't rub off. I save every little bit of this stuff because I love it and I'm going to use it. Oh, thanks, Lynn. And let's see, what do I want? See, I'm not going to be able to put a reindeer there now because my Merry Christmas. But maybe what I'll do to finish off this one, because I can't put anything where the holes are, neither for the Rolodex, but I'm going to put a little birdie and get a pop dot. Just because it's for me in my Rolodex, that doesn't mean that I don't want it to look pretty. And actually, you can set your Rolodex of pretty cards out for Christmas, for the holidays, because it becomes its own little work of art. I think I'm going to put him right there. And then just a little bit of shimmer. And I think I'm going to do the visor and the purple pieces that where the chrome would be. When you squeeze your little pins, make sure you're not on top of your project. Live and learn. I mean, the worst thing is you're going to have a big blob of sparkle, which isn't always bad. But I tend to sometimes to squeeze too hard. You can just put a little sparkle wherever you want it. And remember, if you're using these with watercolor pencils, then you do have to be careful because they will transfer the ink. But with alcohol markers, they don't. So you can kind of go from color to color and it's not going to matter. And there, I am happy with our little Come Color With Me Rolodex feature for tonight. Very happy with that. I hope you're inspired and dig out your stamps, and even if you're going to color while you're waiting for the Olos to come, use what you have and just have fun. And you can do this a number of times in your Rolodex, and you can maybe have a card with watercolors, have one with alcohol markers, have one with pencil crayons, and then you can really decide which medium you enjoy the most. That's it for tonight, guys. Thanks for tuning in with me. I am up quite a bit in the next 2 weeks. Oh, I should show you this. So this is one of these DIY calendars that Heather has in her store. So I did the cover, just kind of looking inside my craft room. And I'm just using stashes of paper. Thanks for the comments, lovely people. This was September, so I took a picture of our backyard and used some really fun Stamperia paper, and then used all my journaling stuff and did stamping for September. And then I marked in like all the different things that I did, all my classes for Unique, and then my fun travels. And now we are on October. So this is the page for October. Some pretty fall colors and the calendar. So I have a class tonight, Come Color With Me. Friday night is our art journal book for October, so that's going to be fun. On Sunday is our steampunk album. And then next Friday is the 18th is Elizabeth Craft paper, her Christmas paper pack that Heather had. I bought one of those plus the Christmas globe. So I'm hoping to do some cards with that. And then another Color With Me session on the 21st. So you're going to see a bit of me yet throughout the month. And love seeing you back. So stay tuned and let me see what you guys are doing out there. I would love to get inspiration too. Thanks so much, everyone.